Alright, now to stitch a nose. Noses are stitched with this pearl cotton thread. It comes in a rainbow of colors. I just happen to have a few different browns out here. It comes in these what are called skeins, and it's usually by the needlework area of the craft stores. Now this is called, it's a gauge 5. It's a slightly smaller thread than this one, which is a gauge, let's see here, it's a gauge 3. So the smaller the number, the larger the diameter of the thread. You can see here the 3 compared to the 5. And also can come in variegated colors. It's pretty. That's pretty. I've seen them in metallics as well. I do happen to do a lot of black noses, so I'll buy a lot of black in these spools. Now what I'll do is sometimes I do like to do a colored nose, and I think we'll do a colored nose for Marco, and we'll pick out what color we want to use. Okay, I've got my teddy bear's head here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to snip away some of the mohair from the top of his nose. Now the top is, I've got that, I'm clearing that off because I'm not going to have much fur showing on the top of the nose. But I'm very careful, I'm not trimming the bottom yet. And now I'm going to use tweezers. This is totally optional. If you want to leave stubble on the top of his nose, you can. Sometimes I do. This time I feel like giving him a nice clean top of his nose. So I'm going to tweeze these out. I'm going to finish cleaning up this nose, and then I'll see you in the next step. Now we're ready to finally start stitching. I use my 3-inch dowel needle, and I cut a length of pearl cotton about 24 to 30 inches long. And let's see, we'll bring the needle up through the bottom of the muzzle to the opposite side of this will be the upper corner, one upper corner of his nose. And pull that pearl cotton a little bit, well, most of the way through, but you do want to leave a tail. You notice I did not tie a knot, and I'm not pulling this all the way through. Just leave that tail hang there. I'm going to pull that mohair out. And now you want to take the pearl cotton, bring it across, straight across his nose, and we're making the top line of his nose. And bring your needle in through there and back at through the other corner of the nose. I want to try to get that out right where he went in the first place. And you want to pull that pearl cotton taut, but not so tight that it puckers. Now this is a triangle shaped nose that I'm showing you here. It's the most common nose that I use. Now you want to drape that pearl cotton down to right at the middle there. And we're going to come back up at that other corner. Let's see here, I want to go in right in the middle. Here we go. And if you're having problems with your needle, like I sometimes do, you might have a dull needle. But you can always use your needle nose pliers to help push it through. Come right at that very corner. There we go. See that? Oop. There. What we're doing is we're doing the outline of the nose first. And I'm holding the rest of the mohair down with my thumb to keep that down. Okay. Now we are going to take the needle and poke it right back in the center again, the same spot where you put it before. But this time we're going to come up right in the center of the nose right here. And I want to try to come up right in the middle of that pearl cotton, that top horizontal stitch. And I may have to go in and out a few times before I get it right. And I'll get my needle nose pliers again. Be careful you don't poke yourself. Or if you do, have plenty of band-aids. I go through enough of them. There we go. Okay. There we go. Nice and tight, but not too taut. Now I've left the neck open because as I stitch, the stuffing does shift some, so I like to keep readjusting it. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the head upside down, look at it to make sure that it is even. If it's lopsided, you'll notice it a lot better when you've got the head upside down, looking at it from up above. Now to complete stitching the nose, I go in the nose at that base, that bottom tip of the triangle for every stitch, and then I come up through the top of the nose on either side of that center, that very first center stitch, and just keep alternating. There we go. Pull it tight, but not so that it puckers. And then I like to use my fingers to guide the thread where I want it to lie. Now I'm coming up on the other side. Now you see where that nose had to be stuffed very firmly in order to do this stitching. Here we go. You notice I move it to where it's supposed to lie because sometimes it might not go there automatically. Okay, now the stuffing's feels like it's shifting a little bit, so I'm going to put some more in there. This is why I leave the neck open. I found that when I close the neck before stitching the nose, my noses get crooked. So there we go. Just keep adjusting as you go. Do one side and the other till you finish the nose, and it looks like this. In this step, what we're going to do is we're going to take this last piece, this last length of thread from the nose. We're going to do one last stitch. I need one more on this side, and we're going to take the 3-inch dowel needle off of the pearl cotton and thread the pearl cotton onto the 5-inch doll needle. Because what we're going to do is sink the pearl cotton into the head. So make that last stitch, and I'm going to take the needle and put it all the way through his head, right at that bottom tip of the nose. Use your needle nose pliers if you need to. Make sure that that last stitch goes where you want it to go. Guide it with your thumb. There we go. And we're not ready to cut it yet. We're going to take the needle, get the mohair away, and put that needle through that same hole that you came out and put it through the other side of his head. And go ahead and get the mohair that's stuck in away from there. And we'll go one more time. What this does is it gets the pearl cotton woven into the head so that it won't come out. It'll be very secure. If I can get it rethreaded here. Come on. There. Make sure none of the mohair gets caught in with the pearl cotton as you pull it through. And now get your very, very sharp scissors. And pull the pearl cotton taut but not too tight. You don't want it to break on you, but you want to pull it taut. Snip it right at the base. Be careful not to get the mohair. And then the end will jump right back into the head. That's why you pull it taut. And now that tail that we still had on the muzzle, we'll do the same thing there. Pull it taut. Clear the mohair away. Pull it taut. Come on. Snip. Now I can still see a tiny bit where the threads of the fabric separated, so I'm going to take a needle and just push those threads back into place. And there you go. See you in the next lesson.